What's happening, human beings? So this is a bit more chill video. I didn't really script this. I didn't really write down specific reasons, but I'm sure a lot of you might be wondering, why did you leave youth ministry, as I announced on the podcast? Or the reason why I'm making this video in general is just because I look on YouTube and I don't think there's enough people talking about why they left youth ministry. They're talking about reasons why you should leave youth ministry, or even saying like why I'm stressed in youth ministry, but not a lot of people talk about why they personally left youth ministry. By the way, you're going to hear a lot of mic handling here because I just wanted to have the mic again. But just to preface what this video is going to be about, preface one. These reasons do not include the parents or the kids. If you are in youth ministry and you think that the kids are going to drive you out of the job, or the parents are going to drive you out of the job, find a new job, because you're in youth ministry. The kids are the main focus, and the parents are also the main focus, because you're taking their babies on winter retreats. You're taking them away from you, or from them. But I think the parents, yes, I did have some parents that were kind of hover parents, but in my opinion, they had every right to do so because I'm teaching their kids for the future. Second preface, this isn't about any specific church. This isn't a video of why I left this church. It's not about that. It's about personally why I left youth ministry, church ministry in general. This isn't really aimed at any church that I've worked for. I'm not even going to say any names of people or churches because this is my personal decision. And three, finally, just to kind of counteract preface two, yes, it was my personal decision, but it was after a lot of prayer, meditation, and most importantly, well, prayer is pretty important, isn't it? Go at 'em. But another big important thing, I talked to my wife about this. I didn't just say willy-nilly, oh, I'm going to leave youth ministry. No, I did speak to my wife about this. I prayed about it for months and just really meditated on this. This isn't something that's, woo, let's go, let's leave youth ministry. This is just after a lot of time and thoughts. So just to let you know, no, parents and kids did not run me out of a job. Specific churches, this isn't about them. And three, finally, this is after a lot of time and prayer. So let's jump into one of my reasons. This isn't in any particular order. This isn't my top 3 reasons why I left church ministry. No. One reason is that it was a 24/7 gig. There really wasn't off time. You had your off time, you had your vacation days, you had your days off, but you really didn't. Your whole life is surrounded by your job. You don't clock in, you don't clock out. You're always present in kids' lives. I didn't really like to talk about when I affected a kid's life. I didn't really put that on the clock. I didn't really say to people, oh, I really affected this kid's life, because it just felt weird to say that I'm on the clock and there it is. So to say that I had days off is kind of weird, just because my whole life was centered around youth ministry and I didn't know how to stop, which kind of like goes into YouTube, where every day is an on day. Every day you're on the clock, but it's a little different because in creation, I'm building to entertain you, to make you laugh, smile, or anything else. This is about their spirituality, their salvation, their biblical understanding. It's a lot of pressure, and that gets to a lot of youth pastors to the point where they reach to alcohol, they reach sometimes to suicide. I handled it better than some, but it still took a massive toll on me because it was a 24/7 fishbowl kind of environment. So that's one reason why I personally, not because of anything else, can't stress that enough. But let's go on to another reason. Reason number 2 kind of goes into my first reason, where I did not like having a paycheck tied to my ministry. And let me explain with that. So the reason why I wanted to do full-time ministry, full-time church ministry, is mostly because I wanted full focus on ministry. I didn't want to do a job in street ministry. I wanted to be always constant in ministry. So that's why I really focused on getting a youth ministry, church ministry job. And I really enjoyed it. I love youth ministry. I love hanging out with the teens. I love studying the word every single day. I love how it was my job. But I didn't like having my paycheck tied to my ministry, because whether or not people kind of said it was attached, there were strings attached to that, saying that, you know, you did have to report to the elders, you did have to report to congregation, because they did have that tie to you, because they are paying you. You are under their authority, both in accountability and also as your boss. And I just did not like that dynamic where they were my boss, they were paying my paycheck, and I just didn't like that mix. I personally didn't like that mix. I'm going to keep stressing in this video that I'm not saying that you need to leave youth ministry. I'm not saying that every person needs to leave youth ministry. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that me personally, I didn't like having a paycheck tied to my ministry. I like doing something like this where I have something, I have a goal, I have entertainment, but I do ministry through it. I don't like having to be paid. The reason why I'm paid is to do ministry. And I like to do ministry for free, but do entertainments in this sort of fashion as, you know, my day-to-day job. Right now, I'm actually working in a grocery store. Games and groceries. Do you get it now? But moving forward. So my final reason, and understand, I don't have this scripted. I just, again, like I said, I just have the 3 reasons, and I'm just trying to share my heart here. And all 3 reasons kind of link together. But my final reason why I decided to leave youth ministry after a lot of prayer and talking to my wife about these reasons, right? But my final reason is that it might not make sense, but I didn't like being the center of people's faith. And what I mean by that is that a lot of churches I did, like Pastor Adam or just Adam. By the way, I hated being called Pastor Adam, and I told people that, and yet they called me Pastor Adam. I don't know. It's just something else. But I didn't like saying, look what Adam did. Look what this did. In my opinion, it's what Christ did. It's what Jesus Christ did for the church. It's what God did for the ministry. I didn't like being treated like I was doing everything and I'm the center of the faith. And I appreciated it. I didn't take it to be like insulting, but I just didn't like being that sort of center of attention. I even preached to the congregation. I was even there Sunday morning preaching to the congregation, and he said, "Oh, Adam, you've really changed me. You changed my life." And I didn't like that. I really didn't like that. You'll watch the podcast and you'll probably tell that I do enjoy being the center of attention sometimes. My wife is smiling and she's trying to hide it. But I do like being the center of attention sometimes in entertainment. But when it comes to faith and people's personal faith to Jesus, I didn't like being the center of that attention. If that makes any sense, it just made me feel really uncomfortable. So just to like wrap this whole video up, I guess you can call it a video. Sure, why not? But I just didn't like how it was a 24/7 gig that it was always, there was no time off. It was just always youth ministry. You had nothing else to think of. I didn't like having a paycheck signed to my ministry. I didn't like having a paycheck tied to me to do ministry. I like to do ministry through my job, not, you know what I mean. And I just didn't like being the center of people's faith. I hope all of this makes sense. I really do, because it makes sense in my mind. And Liz, my wife, she said that it makes sense. But I like to do ministry through other things, like this channel that you're watching right now, Games and Groceries. I like to reach people not by forceful, not to make it a Christian gaming podcast, but just to use this platform to say that I was saved by Christ, and I was hopeless before, without Jesus in my life. And take to what you mean it, but that's what I like to do. I like using a platform to spread the word of God and just to encourage people with Jesus. Whether or not someone who was in the Christian faith treated you right, I want to be the person to tell you that, Christians need to have a higher standard. And I like to use platforms like this instead of having a paycheck tied to the ministry. I really hope this makes sense. And if it does, like the video and share it if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, give me a thumbs down. Speaking of down, look down there in the comments section. I want you to tell me, are you in youth ministry? Are you thinking about leaving? And really share with me what you're thinking, because I want more youth pastors out there. I really do. I want youth ministries to thrive. It just got to me. It really did. And I started to pray about it, and the Lord sent me somewhere else. And I hope to do ministry through this channel. I really do. But it also, just to be personal with you, it also took a toll on our marriage, the whole ministry thing, because it was 24/7. We kept each other sane with the podcast because we could communicate through it. But ministries affect marriages. They really do. But I want to be the one to help you too, So on Twitter, I'm at Ace the Grocer. DMs are open, whether or not you want to say, Adam, this video was terrible, or Adam, I'm in youth ministry and I just, want to vent to somebody. Not to counsel you, but just someone you can vent to. DMs are open if you're in the youth ministry game. But I've said enough in this video. I think I rambled on enough. Liz, do you agree? Did I ramble on enough? I didn't ramble on enough. I can keep you even more, but I've already said that I'm concluding this video. But like I said, just to actually wrap the video up, I just want to reiterate that these are my reasons. They're not your reasons. And I don't think you should take this video to mean that you need to leave youth ministry, because it's not. I just want to clear the air and just to encourage anybody that finds this video and says, I'm thinking about youth ministry. And if this kind of relates to you, talk to me first, talk to God, talk to your spouse, talk to anybody before you do it. Because it took me years, months, and lots of thinking before I made this decision. I'm just going to wrap up the video here. I really hope it makes sense. I just clocked off my new job and I'm a little exhausted after moving, so I'm just rambling at this point. But again, if you enjoyed this video, if it makes sense, please like it and share it with somebody who might be encouraged by it. And if you're so inclined, this channel, Games and Groceries, is actually about video games. We do a video game podcast every Monday. We do Let's Plays. We do, this is actually supposed to be a video game discussion video, Midweek Speak, but I took it over and I wanted to share this on this platform. But if you enjoy video games, consider subscribing to the channel, ringing the notification bell so that you know when all the podcasts comes out and all our videos. So I really thank you for watching this far. You're a trooper and I love you so dearly. I mean that. All right, so I'll end it there. Thanks again for watching. I hope this really did encourage you, and I will see you in the next video.